a late start as usual, but I hope you're with us and I hope you're tuning in. And we're getting ready to start Beatitude number 7 today with Miss Alicia. And so I want to open up with prayer and then we'll turn it over to her. Welcome. All right, let's pray, ladies. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for the season that we are entering. We are fixing to have Palm Sunday and Easter week and a celebration of your resurrection and what you've done for us. And we just thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you that we can remember what you've done during this season and be thankful for your redemptive story for us. And Lord, we give you this lesson. I pray that you touch Alicia and bless her as she teaches us. Bless those who can't be with us today. If there's sickness or things going on, we ask for your touch on them. And Lord, we just pray that you be with us for the next 45 minutes or so. We give you this day. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, good morning. Just to let you know, I'm Alicia. You've probably heard me before, but anyway, just that you know I am, and this is loud. Is it too loud for you guys? It's good? I feel like I'm yelling, okay?
I know it's loud, but it's a good loud.
Okay, it's a good loud, all right. All right, well, anyway, we are on our 7th Beatitude today, and we have learned so much already about how we should live, how our kingdom living should be, what it should look like as we walk in this world that we live in. And, you know, we've learned we've got to be humble. We need to be repentant. We need to be meek, surrendered to God. You know, we've just learned so much. And, you know, and I hope that this is helping all of you as you've gone through this to know how to live even better for God than you've already been doing. We're all children of God and we've been living for Him, but it helps us to know what, you know, I don't know about you, but sometimes I wonder, what can I do better? What can I do better? And you know what, going through this study on these Beatitudes has really opened my eyes to several ways I can do better and live in my kingdom, live in the kingdom life. So anyway, it's been a good study for me, I can tell you, it really has. So anyway, on your questions, I just got to put one question at the top I want you to just think about. We're not going to talk about it up here really, because I mean that would get us into a great big group discussion. But that first question, when conflict happens, which one are you most like? And I just want you to think about that. Because when we're talking about peace, we're talking about conflict, broken relationships, things we can do to make peace and help people become at peace with God and with themselves. So just think about which one you are, you know. We were just, before we started talking about it right here at this table a little bit, picking out who we thought we were, you know, and I'm sure we have a wide variety. Now, honestly, I wish I could tell you that I was the owl, that I always look for wisdom for God, for Him to lead me in everything I do, but unfortunately, I'm not an owl. I'm not. I do, you know, when I do seek Him first, things definitely turn out better. But that is not always the first thing I do, and you know, maybe this has made me think about that. But just for me, I'm just going to tell you, I'm a turtle. I'm a turtle. I feel like I'm a fairly strong woman. I'm strong in my faith, but because of life events, you know, abusive relationships in the past and such, I learned to hide from conflict. You know, it comes up, it doesn't hurt as nearly as bad if you hid from it. It didn't hurt physically, it didn't hurt emotionally. So I became a turtle, and I still tend to do that, and I probably will the rest of my life because that became so ingrained in me for so many years. So here I'm a turtle, I've got my shell on my back, and I can just scooch up into it whenever I need to. So, but when I was talking to my husband about it, he said, being a turtle seems out of character for you. I said, except for when you think about how I was before you and I met, and what I went through before you and I met. I said, if you knew all of that, you would understand why I picked here that I'm a turtle. So Just gonna say that, the only discussion I'm gonna do on this is just let you know where I am, so if you're a turtle, don't be ashamed to admit it. We are what we are, correct, and we've all had different life events, it makes us approach things differently. And so, this one on being a peacemaker has really been good for me, it really has. So Matthew 5:9 is the one that we are doing today. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And this one is our 7th Beatitude. Like Missy said, we've got one more next week that she will be teaching. But we're talking today about being peacemakers. Now, I looked up the definition of peacemaker. Maybe that's why I feel like I'm yelling.
Is that better?
That's, I don't know, talk, let's keep talking.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm yelling as bad now. Maybe it's because it was echoing back in my ears is why I felt like I was yelling at you guys. But anyway, the definition of a peacemaker is a person who actively works to bring reconciliation, restore relationships, and create true peace where there is conflict or brokenness. Now, I got that definition out of one of my biblical references, okay? That's not a Webster's Dictionary one. So that's what and that's the definition we're looking at today with a peacemaker. Someone who actively works to bring reconciliation, restore relationships, and create true peace where there is conflict or brokenness. So, and that's where we're called to be. So, what does the definition tell us when you look at that definition? And the first thing it tells us is that it's an active process. It doesn't just mean.
Can you say it slow?
Can I say it slow? I can. I talk fast, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
The
don't-
Yankee in me comes out sometimes, okay? A person who actively works to bring reconciliation, restore relationships, and create true peace where there is conflict or brokenness. Okay, y'all get that now?
One more time.
One more time, okay. A person who actively works to bring reconciliation, restore relationships, and create true peace where there is conflict or brokenness. So next question for you is, what does this definition tell us then about a peacemaker, about being a peacemaker? First, it tells us it's an active process. It's not something that just happens. Things just won't automatically appear. You can't stand back and say, I want peace, I want peace. I look at me in the eye, nope, it's not there yet. You know, you can't just step back and hope that it's there. It's an active process that you have to actually step in to the conflict or the brokenness. It could be a broken relationship between people, and maybe someone has come to you and you're helping them to restore a relationship, help them learn forgiveness, you know, and bring them peace. And we're called to step into these things. And so maybe that's what you're doing, and maybe you're in your own conflict, but it's an active process that you actually have to step up to. When I said I was a turtle, I'm not good about stepping up to that, okay? It scares me to death to try to do that. So, but it is. You cannot stand back and peace just happen. It doesn't just normally just happen. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. But excuse me. The other thing we learned from this is that it is a focused action. It's focused on bringing people back together. It's focused on reconciliation. So it's active. You have to step into it. You've got to say, I'm here. I'm ready to listen. I'm here for you. I mean, can I help you in any way? However you want to approach it, depending on what the situation may be. But you actively step in, and once you have actively gotten there and you've become a part of this, that's when you focus on what the problem is and then how to restore and help that conflict or the brokenness that's going on. So those are the two things that really tells us about. And when you really, really focus, it helps not only you to understand what's going on, but those involved in the conflict also gain a better understanding of both sides of what's going on if they will listen. So, so it does encourage that. And then as you go through this process of reconciliation, what happens? Hopefully, forgiveness. The only way you're gonna have true peace is gonna be through forgiveness. If you go through life being really bitter at someone, you've said, I forgive you, but I don't mean it, basically, there's never any peace there. You cannot have peace without forgiveness. That's one of those steps to getting there. And that's why, as you're working with whoever you're working with or whatever you're doing, if you've gotten involved in this situation of whatever, you listen, you encourage the others to listen, and then eventually, hopefully this is gonna lead to peace, forgiveness between the other parties or between you and the party that's having the conflict, whichever it may be. But this is what this definition is telling us that we do. We have to get there, we have to do this. We have got to step up to the conflict. So, what does it mean to be a peacemaker? One, it means that we're gonna seek real peace, and I mean real, God's peace. That means we're not gonna ignore the problem that's there. We're not gonna try to keep the peace by pretending that everything is okay. Now, that's my peacemaking, because when you pretend everything's okay, and, oh yeah, I'm good with this, and oh yes, yes, you're pretending, you're a fake peacemaker, okay? You're a fake there. I'm a fake there. I've been a fake peacemaker. Let's face it, I might as well. I am, and that's what I've done. That's why I'm turtle. But,
Put your head in the
I
shell.
put my head in the shell, that's right, Chrissy, I put my head in the shell and so it can go away. I don't wanna be there involved in that, okay? That way I can ignore it, I can just say, everything's okay, I'm fine, I'm get my shell and cry, because it's not really okay. That's not the kind of peace that we wanna make. When you do that, you just patch the problem temporarily. You're putting the patch on, it's kinda like the wine bags, they put new patches on, like back in their days. And you put patches on an old, you put wine in, it bursts through, well, that's kind of this way. You're just putting a patch on something that's gonna burst through again. That's what's gonna happen if you don't take care of the issue. So, you don't have the problem resolved, and your brokenness or whatever, it's just still there. It's still there. It doesn't go away. And I can assure you, you'll never feel peace about that situation. It just doesn't happen. So, what it's not is being a fake peacemaker. A true peacemaker is going to seek the true peace of God in all situations. The true peacemaker is going to work for an honest and lasting resolution to whatever this issue is. It's not a patch. This is the issue, and you've got to come up with a solution that both parties can deal with and live at peace with one another with. And maybe it's just someone who's needing to forgive themselves for something. It may not be another party out here. You need to help them work towards their own self-forgiveness for things. Or maybe there is another party that you have out here that, for your own peace, you need to forgive. I talked to y'all one time about my daughter and the anger she bore against the nurse on the life flight. Remember with my baby that flew, that our baby had basically died en route, but she did not pick up on it. And my daughter was so angry at that nurse for so long, had no peace even about that baby's death, until she was finally able within herself to forgive that person and truly forgive them. You gotta have it. You don't get peace until there's forgiveness. It doesn't happen. When this verse in Matthew, when Jesus was speaking to that crowd with these Beatitudes, when he was speaking about peacemakers, now I didn't write down the Greek word because I'll be honest, I would have butchered it trying to pronounce it because it's about that long. And I didn't. Because, and the reason I did is because when Jesus was speaking on peace here, he used the Hebrew version, shalom. Because that is what these Jewish people, that's the type of peace they were familiar with. And so he used that version, so that's why I didn't really go into the Greek with it. But that's what he had a Jewish audience. He was speaking to them in terms that they could understand, they could relate to. And shalom, they could relate to easily. So that's what Jesus did with them when he was talking to them. And so what kind of peace is shalom? It's a wholeness. It's complete peace, complete. It means you're in harmony with God. You have peace with God because you're in harmony, you're aligned with God. You have restored relationships. You feel well, you flourish under God's leadership. You know, you have this peace where you can just live through life following our Lord. And as a part of that shalom peace, you're also trying to bring peace and justice into the community in which you live. It's not just a personal peace, but you want to help bring peace to those around you, those within your community. We would love to see everyone live in a God's shalom peace, wouldn't we? Everywhere in our community, everywhere we went. We know it doesn't happen. I'd love to see it in this whole world. This world is broken to tiny, tiny pieces. And I would really love to be able to see that. Okay, so I'm gonna call us now shalom makers, okay? Shalom makers, instead of peacemakers. This is just to help keep that thought in mind. So a true shalom maker restores 4 kinds of brokenness. And I've got them on your paper there. First one is restores your peace with God. And yours and others. Help them return to a right relationship with God. Give them, this is where you should be an owl and go for the wise counsel from God. Guide them by the godly principles to help them find peace with God with whatever event has taken them where they don't turn to God anymore. You know, sometimes it's a death or a tragedy, and people will turn away within themselves. I've seen that happen to folks. I'm sure y'all have too. And it can be very difficult to help bring those people back to God. But that's what we need to do. That's what we do as God's family. We want to bring the family back in. The family that was there that took off, you know, like the one sheep ran away, the prodigal son took off. You know, there's things we want to bring the family back together. So take that person, embrace them, bring them back into the family, help them restore their relationship with God. That's their first step. Because if you can't, you're not going to restore other earthly relationships until you've got that relationship with God good. He's the one that shows us how to have peace. He's the one who has shown us how to love. He's the one who's shown us how to forgive. You know, he is the one who leads us and guides us. So unless we have that first, we can't do that for somebody else. So it helps restore peace with God. So not only your own peace, and if it's your own peace, if you can't come with yourself, go to godly counsel within your church or something. You know, we have intercession prayer at our church, and things that we can do, people you can go to that can pray with you and help you through that process. Seek them out. Don't be ashamed to. Those people helping you have probably been there before too, in some form of manner. Maybe not just like you are. Maybe your brokenness with God is over something very different. But I've had times I've had brokenness with God. I said, where were you? Where were you? You know, I'll admit, when my grandbaby died, where were you, God? It didn't last long, thank goodness, because he showed me I'm right here. But you know, different things can break us. We got to have peace with God before we can go anywhere else. So we seek first the peace with God, and then we share. Because we're supposed to share his character with everyone. Not just his love and other, but we've got to share his peace with others too. So it helps us restore that peace with God. Peace between people. This may be a family relationship that needs to be restored. You know, if you've got someone in your family that just kind of doesn't ever come around, you never see them, just in your personal family. Maybe it's a friend. Restore personal relationships. Help people get them restored. Have peace in your relationship. And you can do that as you talk with him. Forgiveness. That's the big, and that's the biggest and probably the hardest thing that we do sometimes is offer forgiveness. Real forgiveness. It's easy to say, well, I forgive you. It's not easy to say, please forgive me. It's not near as easy for us to admit that we were the one that needs to be forgiven. You know, but that forgiveness has to be there. They're linked. They're really linked. And then peace within yourself is the other that restores, helps bring emotional and spiritual healing for yourself when you get that peace. That peace with God. And then peace in your community. You know, we really need to work. We work towards justice and fairness and unity within our community. Be it your church community, maybe it's your small group community, don't think that there's some small groups that can't sometimes have a little conflict in them. Back whenever I was kind of overseeing small groups, there was one that I had to kind of step in because of some conflict in it. And here's the turtle having to go in here and do this because this is kind of in my role of things to do, okay? So I did not have fun doing that, but we were able to resolve the conflict that was within that one small group. So it was successful, but I did rely on wise counsel that time. But, so it can be done, even as a turtle. But it, that community can be anything. It can be your big community, it can be your work community, like I said, your small group, maybe it's your overall church community. There's just, some churches sometimes just get conflict running through them. You know, the enemy will step in and find an area of weakness anywhere, even in your church, and exploit it. And it will blow up even in your church. You know, so we need to be on the look for that, and then help solve those issues, you know, and keep things peaceful and keep things running smoothly and fairly within that community, whatever community that you are dealing with at that time. So basically then with this, I feel like I know with these Beatitudes, every time I'm taught, I feel like I say kind of the same things over and over about the same thing, but how many times can you say the same thing about something, you know? I don't know. I was kind of trying to make sure that you do get it down. This is neat. This is so important. But peacemakers help bring God's order and healing into the broken situations. That's why whenever you go into that and you are going in under God's counsel and helping with the situation, whatever it may be, relational, community, just anger at a spouse, you can still go to God if you're angry with the spouse and say, hey, I don't know how to handle this, help me. Help me that we can solve this peacefully. And I assure you, he will be there for you. He will be there. You know, so Jesus is telling us that the truly blessed are those who create peace even when it's difficult. It's another thing he's telling us with this. You know, he's telling us we've got to do this. It's not a, you can do this if you can, if you feel like it, but if you don't like conflict, you don't have to do it. That's not what we're being told. We're called here to be peacemakers. There's no clarifying statement with it of who can be exempt from it, or, you know, nothing. We're all called. When he said, blessed are the peacemakers, he's saying all of the people are blessed as a people if you're a peacemaker. You'll be a child of mine if you are a peacemaker. You know, you're called my child as long as you're doing this. You know, do this. You're my child. I'm your daddy. Don't you copy your daddy and your mom and you try to reflect their good behaviors. You know, this is his. This is him. He is peace. So we follow. We reflect him. So we are, even if it's difficult, we need to take a deep breath and step into it and focus on the problem. Ask for wise counsel, and God will lead. It doesn't mean that it's going to be solved the day the first time you ever speak to someone. You may walk away feeling like, well, that was a flop. You know, that we didn't accomplish nothing. But you keep going back. Everybody does not understand it the first time around. You don't just give up on somebody. I'm glad God didn't give up on me the first time around. I'm gonna tell you, because it took him several rounds to get me where I am. Because we have to do the same with others. Offer them the same grace that God has given you, and keep helping them, keep showing up for them, keep listening to them. That is how you can be a peacemaker in a situation. You know, that coming back and back and back and back is truly helps, I'm telling you. So, God is calling us. He is not saying if you want to have peace, He's saying do it. Do it. If you see that there's not peace somewhere in my house, I want you to do it. You got a role to play here. Psalms 34:14. It tells us, turn from evil and do good, seek peace and pursue it. Even God's telling us it's not that it is an active process. You've got to pursue peace. It doesn't just rain on us like His grace does. Okay? But yet, we have to actively pursue it. Just imagine yourself in a race with your peace is down here and you are running like crazy to catch it. You chase it, you go after it, you claim, you get to catch it, you claim and you hang on to that peace. But He's saying, seek it, pursue it, never give up, always look for that peace. In Romans 12:18, we're told, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. We're responsible for our part in the peacemaking. He's telling us that here, as far as it depends on you. We have to do our part. We have to do our part in stepping up into the situation. We have to pursue it, and we have to be active and step up to help someone else also. You know, I don't want God one day to ask me, why didn't you step up this? And He said, because I'm in my shell. You know, I don't want to have to tell Him that, okay? I'm sure I will in some situations, if I'm gonna be honest, but I want to be able to say, God, I stood up for you. I stood up and called on you, and you helped me through. You helped me to help them. You get the glory, not me. You are glorified because you've used me as your agent to help this person to establish peace in their family, their relationship, maybe their peace with God. This is all Him. You know, you got to remember, this is not you doing this. This is God doing this. And He is using you as His agent to accomplish His will in their lives, to establish peace. And when we do that, we get in them, and you see them walking in God's shalom. Isn't it a wonderful thing to see? It's to see them walking in His peace finally, people who have been under so much conflict. And it's wonderful to see that. I love it. And who is our ultimate peacemaker? It's God. He is the ultimate peacemaker because He is the one who sent His Son. He's the ultimate peacemaker. He sent His Son to restore humanity to Him. So that makes Him the ultimate. Jesus, yes, Jesus is a peacemaker. He's called the Prince of Peace. But when you think about what God did first, I see Him as that ultimate peacemaker. He said, okay, I want to have peace with my people. I want my people to be close to me. I want my people to be able to come to me. So what does He do? He sends His Son. And His Son comes here and dies for each one of us to cover our sins in His blood so there's sin no more. Peace has been established between us and God. He's the ultimate peacemaker. And I'm not taking away from what Jesus did, but I'm just saying He initiated it. Okay. And then His Son, He complied and He came and did the will of the Father. This was done to establish peace restore the relationship between us and God. That restored that relationship between us and God when that happened. And in the same way, if we can help someone else restore that relationship between them and God, we should step forward and do it. Is there anything any better than your relationship to God? Anything? There's not. I got a lot of people in this world that I love, and I love being around and being with, but there is nothing that compares to my relationship with my Lord. And that's the way it should be. As much as I love my husband, it doesn't compare to my relationship with my Lord. And that's the way it's meant to be. And so And that part of that is having that, keeping that peace so that you can maintain that relationship. Helping others, be a peacemaker, help others to have that same complete, whole, restorative peace of his. Beyond all understanding. There's times I have peace, I don't know why I would have it in a situation. You've probably been there, but you know you have that peace. That's because of that relationship with your Father, you know it's there. It's just there. As I said, the Messiah is called the Prince of Peace. He's given that title in Isaiah 9:6. And he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. We've all read that. He is called the Prince of Peace. And the Hebrew phrase for Prince of Peace is Sar Shalom, S-A-R, and then Shalom. Sar means prince, ruler, leader, and then Shalom means peace. He's the Prince of Peace. So they referred to him as Shar Shalom. So that is who we get the true peace now, through him, the true Shalom peace. John 14:27 tells us, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. He is one who gives us his peace. Philippians tells us it's beyond understanding, and it really is. It really, really is. When you have truly experienced his peace in situations where, even in situations of conflict, where you still feel his peace flowing through you, you think, why is this here? Why do I feel this? How can I feel this peace here with this situation when this is in turmoil? We haven't seen the end of it yet, but God's there. It's his peace with you, guiding you and leading you. It's a part of you. So, just as he gives us peace, he wants us to help create that peace with others. You know, we need to act like the Messiah did. He was always a peacemaker, was he not? I see him as a peacemaker even when he was clearing out the temple. You know? He was making room for God to be there. He was giving the room. He was getting rid of who did not belong, the things that did not belong there that was defiling the temple. Even though that was an act that would not have looked peaceful, he was restoring peace there to God's house. So, and when we act like the Messiah, that means that we're going to continue his mission here on earth of bringing peace. We do our part. We cannot just sit back and say, in your prayer, when you can, Lord, give peace to this situation. But what better would it be to say, please give peace, but show me how I can help in the process. If you know something's going on, use me to help in the process. How many of us do that? We just willingly want to say, I see this, I need to go in there and help this, and you say, God, help me, show me what I need to do to help. I'm not good at that, okay? I'm just going to admit up front. It doesn't mean I don't know that I need to do these things, but I know I'm not good at it. That's one of those things I can get better at from this list of these Beatitudes, okay? This is one I need to work on. So, as we are doing this, as we are now, we've learned how to be peacemakers. What is our reward? We're called peace, and we are called his children. Peacemakers will be called the children of God. We will be called the children of God. John 1:12. Yet to all who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. We are his children. What does that mean to be his children? It means that we live our lives with the same heart and character of God. What we have, the way we saw Jesus live here, that we have read about and we've studied in our Bibles, we should reflect that as his children, to show others what he is like. No, we're not going to be perfect. Not this side of heaven, we're not going to be perfect. But we can still show what God looks like. What people can have. We can show his peace. We can show his love. We can show his forgiveness. We can show his grace. You know, we can show all these things to others so they can see the God that we serve, and maybe someone will say, I want that. That's what I want to do. So every time we do that, every time you show peace to someone, or you help them to find resolution, you're showing the character of God. And give him the credit, God. Don't say, I was happy to help you. Say, it's only by God's grace I was here to help you. Somewhat, however, who gets the glory always? Our God does. Our God always gets that glory. Just we need to remember, you know, our humanity kind of puff up sometimes and think, I'm glad I was here for you. But God's the one who put me here. You know, let's give the ultimate credit where credit is due. You know, so sometimes we don't take that extra step. So anyway, I'm almost done here, but I did a little reword of Matthew 5:9 after I've gone through all this, and I'm just going to tell you kind of what I wrote. I said, blessed are those who restore God's peace in broken places, because they show they belong to the Prince of Peace. That's how I kind of summed all this up. It's kind of what, you know, all of this stuff I've said for the last 30 minutes kind of boiled down to that phrase. Blessed are those who restore God's peace in broken places. That's what we're called to do, because they belong to the Prince of Peace. Shalom. That is who we belong to, and we show it. So, one final verse, James 3:18, peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness. And that's what will happen as we sow that seed of peace. There will be more people hopefully turning to God. We will sow a harvest of righteousness.
Can you say the verse again?
James 3:18. So, my question to you here is my final thought is, where might God be asking you to bring peace right now? Think within yourself. Think about it. Each one of us would have, I'm not going to ask you to say, because it could be something very private where you need to step into. So I'm not going to ask you to reveal, but I'm asking you to seek within yourself. You know now what we're called to do, and that you know you're not going to do it alone. So where is God calling you to step in to bring peace right now? Maybe peace between someone and God, between two people, something within a small community somewhere. Where is it He's calling you? So ladies, just wherever it is, take the step with Him. That's what I can say. It's not always easy. If you're not a conflict person, if you're not comfortable like me, it's hard for me to take that step. But I'm learning when God is pushing me, telling me, say, yes, this is it, take the step, this is what I want you to do, that I follow. But it is difficult, and I almost get anxiety over it, okay? Because I am not a conflict person. But when God calls me to do it, I know I'm not the one doing it. If I know for sure He's now if I'm just trying to step up on my own and do this, I will have all kinds of anxiety, and I know I'm not supposed to be there. This is not my job right now. But when you can go into it with peace, knowing God is with you, then you're stepping into what He is calling you to do. So, search your heart. And if God's leading you somewhere to do something to help someone, step out and do it, and give God all the glory for it.
All right, well, this is Alicia's last teaching for this
Oh.
Bible study, and she has done a fantastic job, so let's give her a round of applause. Wonderful job, wonderful job. We did it's been years ago at our church, but when we have our membership class, and I know that I don't think they still do this, but we did a little test that was called DISC, DISC, and I'm sure if you get online and find, I'm sure it's online, you can take it, but it's a personality test, kind of like what she's doing with the turtle and the owl and all, but it's and I can't remember what each letter stood for, but it was very similar personalities. I was a D, and I was a D/something else, I think a C, I can't remember. But D is it's like a type A personality. It was like driven, determined, dreamer. Like, let's get, somebody suggests something, let's do it, let's get it done. Like, no pause, no thought process, like, that sounds like a great idea, let's go, you know, just like very determined kind of personality. But the reason we did that was so that we would be aware of others, like others in our family that didn't have the same personality as us. And the staff did it so that they would understand in staff meetings, you know, how to be peacemakers really with people that are not D. So D people struggle with people that are I, introverts, that want to be like a turtle. And so we get frustrated with them because we think they're supposed to be taking action, and we see the hesitation and we see, you know, the outcome of it. We think we see the outcome of it. So we're trying to push that turtle, you know, nudge that turtle, get his head out and move, and sometimes he doesn't need to. So, you know, staff members are made up of a lot of different personalities, and it was such a good, it was just a good, there was even a book about it, I think, wasn't there, Trish? So anyway, it was a good little analogy of, okay, so once you figure out what your personality is, and how do you work with, you know, at your job situation or in church situations or in any situation where you have to work with people as a team, how do the D's work with the I's and S's and the C's and vice versa? And so it was very interesting because D's will dream and D's will get out there, but a lot of times they drop the ball. And you need somebody, I can't remember, it was an S or I don't remember, there was another personality trait that said, hey, I think it was C, it was cautious person. Is that, anyway, it was you need a D person, needs a C person, they really need all the different personalities, because to get something done, you're gonna have to have somebody who's organized and who thinks proactively, like, hang on just a second. We can't run out here and tear these trees down, you know, like, let's think through the possibilities here, you know? Like, you wanna tear a forest down to build something, and we gotta think through the process. What kind of permits do we do? Do we need this building? Is this necessary? So, I'm saying all that to say, look it up, because it taught me a lot about myself, but it also taught me a lot about the people that are around me. And if I want to have a relationship with I's, S's, and C's, I have to back off sometimes and listen. I have to like stop and pause and ask God, like, what is it I need from them? Because I need from them. I need people to keep me accountable. I need people to keep my head out of the clouds sometimes. I need people to slow me down before I make a mistake. It's very important that you have all these different personality types in a team. Because if you've got a team full of D's, you're gonna go bankrupt or something. It's gonna be a mess, you know. And if you have a team full of C's that are always cautionary, nothing is ever gonna get done. You know, people that want to avoid conflict are not gonna, it's just gonna be a mess. So you need a team of all these personalities, and I loved it, I enjoyed it. It was similar to the little test we did back in the 70s and 80s that said you were type A and a type, you remember that, some of you ladies, but it's a good little thing. Also the spiritual gifts test, which we did in this group several years ago, I don't know how many years ago. Anyway, I've been teaching this class for so long, but a lot of you and the Trinity ladies were in that class. So, some of you. So we did a spiritual gifts test, which is also interesting, because when you find out, okay, I test highest in administration, that's great, but I need to be working with somebody who tests highly in encouragement and patience and, you know, in hospitality. Like, it's great to be driven, it's great to be admin personality, but you're gonna rub people the wrong way. So you got to work with people that can help you learn how to be relational. So it's just, you know, the spiritual gifts test, and the thing that I love about it is I took it in my 20s, I took it in my 30s, and my 40s, and my 50s, and I haven't taken it in my 60s yet, but I guarantee you it's changed. Because as you go through seasons, and you learn from trauma, you learn from experience, you learn from your children, and now I've got a grandchild, I'm learning from him. I mean, you go through seasons of change, and it changes who you are, and hopefully for the better. So when I used to like be totally D and didn't understand people in my 20s, like it would just I had no patience, you know, it's like, I understand why you don't want to get this done, you know, let's get somebody in here that can do this right. Now I'm more patient because I understand I need other people, like we need each other. And I've developed compassion, and God has given me a heart for women, ministry to women of all personalities, and I have learned from all these personalities how to be relational with you. You might not have the same personality as me, but I love you from the bottom of my heart, and I want to understand you. I want you to understand me, and I want us to be friends, you know. So it's a good talking about peacemaking. It's really important for you to understand your DNA, your spiritual DNA. How has God designed me, and how do I take this, which should be gifts, we use them wrongly because we don't understand them, but the gifts and the personality God created me to be, how do I take that and become a peacemaker with other people that are different from me? Rather than trying to stir up a war or fight with them because you don't understand them, be a peacemaker. God teach me, because there's a lot that other personalities can teach me and have taught me how to be a better person. And so that I just thought about that when she was teaching that DISC test that we took years ago, and how it really influenced me and the way I try to relate to people as opposed to the way I used to relate to people. So it's a growth process, but you want God to use your gifts and your personality in a positive way, always, for Him, to bring glory to Him. And so, you know, the turtles need the owls, and the owls need the turtles, and the sharks need the turtles, and, you know, so we all need each other. So these team, you know, this animal team, if they work together, can accomplish miraculous things for God and help each other. And there's a lot of lessons in learning how to work with people that are not like you. You know, we gravitate toward people that a lot of times that are like us, and that's not necessarily a good thing. You need to surround yourself with people that are not like you, you know, so that you can learn and grow from them. And I love that growth process. But anyway, I just thought I would throw that in there. This was a good one. Peacemakers. Next week is blessed are you that are persecuted. So please don't skip that one because you don't want to come, because we don't like persecution. But there is a promise and a reward in there. And we will finish up our Beatitudes next week. Okay, ladies? Anybody want to say anything? I forgot to cut the video off. Bye. I hope y'all enjoyed that.